Hi guys, and welcome back to the South Korean ladder to October the 1st, 2025. So today is actually October the 1st, 2025, as I have found a very interesting game here on Qual GG. We do have spawning in the upper left, in the orange. It is Snow with his AK, with his barcode AK, and his opponent here in the lower left. In the white, it is SOO with his AK. So SOO, the veteran from Starcraft Broodwar, Starcraft 2, always a known player, very good into the GSL tournaments, has decided to come back to Starcraft Broodwar. Same can be said about TI. I'm going to try to find some replays about him as well. So it's always nice to see the veterans coming back to actually a very good game. Actually, in my opinion, Starcraft Broodwar much better than Starcraft 2, given the fact that it is actually much harder than Starcraft 2. So I guess that's exactly why this is my opinion. And I will also try to do some noob gameplay here onto this channel. It's going to be, of course, very cringy. I'm really bad at Starcraft, but nevertheless, I'm going to try my best. So that would be the future options here for this channel. In the meantime, of course, the production tab is up here in the upper left part. Looks like a gateway first here for Snow, also blocking the entrance very nicely by him. Overall is out for SOO, scouting really nicely in the upper left part, and also very lucky scout by SOO, who sees the spawning pool first. So it's actually overload into spawning pool for SOO. No intentions for him to go yet for a expansion, as of course Snow tries to delay as much as he can the expansion point from the opponent. That's exactly what he's doing. So a chase we have here into the early game. Snow, he might even put a pylon here into this location. Great micro, of course, by both players above 300 APM. Very good job here actually by Snow, but in the end I believe SOO is going to take it. So a good delay here by Snow, nicely microing his probe. As the game continues and the first Zerglings will be spawned very soon, the first Zealot also on his way here for Snow. Sorry about the coughing, I still have a flu, but yeah, I'm still going to try to be as active as possible as I can. So yeah, the Zerglings are out. Snow once again tries to buy some time, of course. I believe SOO might even want to go for his second expansion. He does have the mineral for that. Let's see exactly what is he going to be doing with his drone. I believe he's going to try even to go towards the lower right part. In the meantime, in come the Zerglings, and the Zerglings could actually move here forward to go straight for the mineral line. So a little bit of a mistakes here perhaps by Snow, leaving actually this gap open. As yeah, indeed, Snow takes the 6 o'clock here. So double expansion here for him. Gas is also done, and Zerglings are just showing his presence. Of course, Snow doesn't really know what exactly is coming towards his way. It could be mass Zerglings, but at the same time, SOO actually decided to invest into another expansion. And I believe Snow doesn't really know about that. He sees the gas, however, he doesn't see the tier 2 upgrade. So with that, he might think, of course, that it is another expansion. In the meantime, in comes the push. There's already 3 Zealots out here for Snow, so he should, of course, be fine against 3 Zerglings. Already inflicting good damage. 1 Zergling dropping very low as the game continues here. Let's check the main here from Snow. We will have a starport very soon, very likely. And as you can see from the timer, it's once again a 20-minute mark. 20-minute mark of a replay. You guys seem to be liking that very much. I'm also not going to cast longer replays. Very hard for my voice, especially now with the flu, as the probe might get surrounded here. In come 2 Zealots. Snow is going to try to find a good position for them. There it is behind the gas, as some damage will be taken, of course, by the Zerglings. In the end, this will be cleared, but of course, lots and lots of Zerglings will fall here, as Snow showing his presence, showing his attack force. Even a probe has joined the fight here. And yeah, a very good micro indeed. It just shows how strong Zealots are early on, if they are being positioned correctly. So if the Zerg isn't taking any good surrounds, the Protoss can be quite deadly. And we actually do have 3 Zealots now moving forward for Snow, so might have to go for a surround maneuver. He could, of course, just leave the Zealots here, not attack. But yeah, perhaps a sunken would also be a good idea for him in order to fend this early aggression off. But he's actually massing Zerglings with speed. So yeah, now finally he could go for a surround maneuver. Lots and lots of Zerglings are moving forward. as the Zealots in the end once again will be taken out. But yeah, as always, Zerglings will fall here left and right. Now finally this has been cleared. Let's see if SOO could be successful here. However, the entrance is pretty much shut. I believe only this gap right here is actually now getting blocked by Snow. So Snow investing very heavily into those Zealots early on. The way is pretty much shut. We do have a cannon. Let's have a look if there's a tier 2. There is indeed a tier 2 with a spire for SOO, and we actually do have weapons upgrade here on the way for Snow. So we might see some Corsairs very soon for him, as Zerglings are still patrolling here the map for SOO. So we do have a small stalemate, a good map control by SOO, a nice expansion for him. And yeah, the game continues. Let's have a look what exactly the plans are here from SOO. Perhaps mass militaries could be his idea, but then again, Corsairs will be able to take this out. We do have a robotics facility bay here for for Snow, as some reavers, which a shuttle could also be a very good idea for him. Even some High Templars into the late game would also be great. A High Templar is always a great idea versus Zerg, versus the Terran, always very good with that high AoE damage versus the opponent, especially against the Zerg. Also very good versus the tanks from the Terran onto the ground. As another small wave is moving here forward for Snow. So yeah, it looks like SOO builds a SimCity build order here, has a SimCity build order. However, a Sunken is missing for him. Currently just relying onto those Zerglings to take out the Zealots. So Snow just checking out here what exactly the Zerg is up to. Lots and lots of Zerglings have been sacrificed indeed for him as the game continues. So lots of workers here for Snow. 42, also very healthy count here for the Zerg. 28 workers as we do close towards the 10-minute mark. So yeah, still anyone's game. Of course, a shuttle with some Corsairs. So the Corsairs could of course assist the shuttle into a drop with a Reaver. So this could be the plan from Snow. Of course, the expansion here by SOO not well defended at all. So Snow could easily just move here forward with his shuttle, drop the Reaver. No Sunkens here for SOO. Finally, some Hydralisks are getting produced for him. Let's see if he's going to try a Hydralisk bust versus the opponent, as even speed is on the way here for Snow. And we also have the faster overload movement by him. Let's have a look what exactly is going to happen. Yeah, there's the Reaver with 2 Zealots, 3 Corsairs, like I told you, will assist this. Very likely a drop. Oh no, actually, Snow decides to stay at home. Perhaps he forgot his shuttle there. There we have the vision by SOO, as one overload might get snapped. Some Scourge, however, are in the air, ready to engage the Corsairs. And we do have indeed a transition into mass Hydralisk, so it could be a late, at around the 11-minute mark, we might see a Hydralisk bust here happening for SOO versus the opponent. There's the shuttle. I believe Snow just checking the water, what exactly anti-air was available here for SOO, as he's now going towards the newly established base, as you can see on the minimap. And some Zerglings just patrolling the map. And yeah, notice how much of a map vision SOO has. A very smart move by him. It looks like Snow bypassing the expansions, going straight for the main. A smart move by him, finding the weak spot here for SOO. So like I told you, SOO with some very bad defenses for him. There comes the Reaver. This could be massive for him. One drone already falling. The second one might deal even more splash damage. Luckily here for SOO, he's not losing. Forget what I said, he just lost 2 more drones. So in all 4 drones have been lost. So very sloppy gameplay here actually by Snow. Not having good defenses. His expansion was well defended. Now finally he shows his presence with the Hydralisk. Speed has been done. Corsairs are ready to move forward as well. Actually, one Corsair has been snapped. But yeah, the problem here for SOO was that the main hasn't been that much well defended. Of course, Snow sensing that, immediately sending out his Reaver with his shuttle. Great micro as always here by SOO, snapping one Hydralisk after the other, dealing more and more splash damage. And there it is. Reaver, a very good unit indeed to have. Perhaps into the early game even better than the High Templar Storms, as lots and lots of Zerg units are onto the ground patrolling the map. Yeah, but this Reaver, I believe, already with above 10 kills. And yeah, not taking any damage. A very good micro indeed here by Snow. However, Snow not having another expansion, dealing good damage towards the economy, but you can see how fast SOO has bounced back. From 26 workers, he's now at 38, so Snow might try once again to snipe some units. Every unit counts, of course, a lot. Some Corsairs will take damage. The Reaver is slowly moving forward. However, the bouncing ball still takes some connection, even though it was behind the wall. So yeah, SOO tries, of course, his best to out-micro this. Very hard situation here for him. Very hard game, of course, to out-micro a shuttle with speed and the Reaver, of course. He tries, of course, to micro his units all around the map. Maybe he's going to be lucky to pick up a Corsair or two. But in the end, Snow in a quite dominating position. However, hold on, we have another drop happening here, and 2 more drones have been sniped. Hydrisk will be ready to engage here. Still, SOO loses some units. It's very hard for him, so perhaps a Sunken or a Spore would have been a good idea for him. Investing into a Spore might chase away the abusive gameplay here by Snow, who just keeps on killing. Let's have a look how many kills does this Hero Reaver have for Snow. Maybe he's going to drop him, and we're going to find out how many kills. Surely above 10. However, now Snow with a huge mistake. I don't know what exactly he was thinking, bringing his shuttle forward, losing an important unit, the shuttle and the Reaver there. So finally SOO coming back a little bit into this game after taking quite some damage out of this shuttle right here with the Reaver. And yeah, there are other reinforcements for Snow. Let's have a look into his main. Lots and lots of Zealots are getting produced by him. No Templar Archives yet for Snow, at least I didn't see one. And still on a 2-base strategy here for Snow versus the 3-base, soon to be 4-base Zerg. As it's going to be literally mass Zealots versus Hydrisk. If the Zealots get a good connection versus the Hydrisk, a good surround, could be quite deadly. As in comes Snow, but there are some lurkers onto the ground, and with that I believe SOO is going to surely shut down this mass Zealots attack. Now all of a sudden a very good position by Snow. The Reaver is taking some damage. The Hero Reaver is about to fall. Good micro here by Snow, and somehow the Reaver is still alive. No shuttle yet for him. The shuttle has been snapped. So the Reaver, let's have a look how many kills does he has. He's still building some scarabs. 23 kills here for this Hero Reaver. Very good job by him. Snow perhaps waiting for his shuttle to save this Reaver. However, SOO reacting immediately is going for a surround maneuver. I believe at least that exactly seems to be what he's doing. Or no, he changed his mind. He goes now for the newly established base by Snow. So Snow all of a sudden, after a good start, he is in some serious trouble. As in comes the push. The Reaver is very likely going to be snapped. Another one is in the back. No shuttle yet for him. We do have some High Templars in the back, but yes, SOO with a great pickup here, cancelling the expansion there, moving forward. At the same time, there is a counter-attack happening here by Snow, but he has to be very busy with his units. I believe the High Templars pretty much exposed. The Reaver takes some good damage and is being taken out. In the meantime, the Zealots will be able to take care of this. However, some forces already here for SOO to defend. And with that, SOO might lose this expansion. However, like I told you, the reinforcements are ready to engage, and just a couple of one or Sunken or two would have been great here for SOO. However, SOO just planning to go into mass Hydrisk to defend his bases. So yeah, with that, all of a sudden SOO being in a better position. Now Snow punishing it with some Corsairs, leaving SOO supply blocked. But yeah, the units are still outside of the base from Snow. Snow seems to be transitioning into some Dragoons, into some High Templars. Some Zealots will be needed as well. As sadly here for Snow, he just keeps on losing unit after unit. Good engagement here for SOO. He has all of those bases, so right now SOO in a very good position. He has lots and lots of structures, 4 bases versus only 2 bases for Snow. Finally, at least he has a shuttle here to hold 3 cannons in the back. Reaver dealing good damage. And yeah, with that, Snow should be able to hold, but like I told you, into this game right now, he's pretty much behind. He has no second expansion, as he's taking more and more damage now. Finally, he should be able to push this back. He tries, of course, to stay into the game with his Corsairs, but yeah, pretty much behind now, even though it's only 43 workers for the Zerg. the Zerg in a much better position here than the opponent, and we might actually see even a massive drop happening here. It could be a possibility for SOO going for this expansion spot, however also very risky given the fact that there are so many Corsairs in the air here for Snow. So let's see what his options are. 2 expansions have been taken here by Snow right now. He's just patrolling the map in order to see when or if there's going to be an attack happening here by SOO. And yeah, all of a sudden SOO, interesting enough, goes into the defense. Quite an interesting move. I believe he is expecting an attack. In comes the Reaver attack, taking out a couple of Hydras, actually many more Hydras being taken out. So Snow, with an outstanding micro once again, is still into this game, sniping all the units which he can get. 28 kills. Is this the hero Reaver? Perhaps not, as the game continues here, of course. So SOO, interesting enough, he is defending, but at the same time, like I told you, he might prepare a drop towards the location right here, as Snow has to pick up those newly established bases. He has to defend them as well. Very important to have those 2 bases up, as his main expansion is actually pretty much mined out very soon. Long distance mining happening for him. The army is still very strong for Snow. Let's have a look at those upgrades. 2 weapons, 2 armor. Let's have a look at SOO. 2 weapons upgrades. And SOO, interesting enough, still on the defense here. What exactly is he preparing? So all of a sudden a very defensive gameplay here. The shuttle isn't really going to be able to deal some damage there. As SOO, like I told you, I think he's going for a drop. Could be a drop happening. Check his main once again. Still tier 2 upgrade the main from Snow, having also many gateways. Going for more upgrades. As yeah, Snow just patrolling the map here, tries to find some pickups. Of course, it's very important to every unit counts a lot into a pro game, and we have a great storm now happening here. So sadly here for SOO, he's all of a sudden, his defensive gameplay isn't really working out. Even the main could take some massive damage here. Snow is moving forward with his Corsairs. However, the real damage dealer once again happening here with the High Templar Storms. So here, lots and lots of units getting lost here by SOO. Sadly for him, he decided to play defensively. Snow abusing, of course, the fact, and brings forward his shuttle, this time with High Templars, as SOO has dropped towards lower than 40 workers there. Now we do have finally a move out here by SOO. It could be a great maneuver, it could be a great surround, as Snow not really having so many units. However, even shield battery has been added here by Snow. So let's see this gap right here, of course, working against SOO. He's doing his best job to kill those cannons. However, the 2 Reavers in the back not really taking any damage, and the reinforcements are exactly on time here for Snow. So let's see what the second wave here from the Zerg is going to be able to do. 1 Reaver dropping very low, getting sniped actually, but there are High Templars here ready to answer, and also the reinforcements are moving forward here for Snow. So Snow, very importantly for him, he is able to defend against this attack by SOO. And with that, the tides have changed once again. Snow now being the one in the advantage. SOO not deciding to drop towards the main. It could have been a great drop towards all of those gateways, and even having the high control right here, but he decided to split his troops. He decided to attack the expansion sea, and yeah, 4 Reavers, 2 into this location, 2 into the other location, backed up by a shield battery, keeping of course Snow into the game. And with that, all of a sudden, SOO in a very bad situation. He has an expansion going up, still mining here. Let's not forget the High Templars that have also dealt some good damage. And yeah, this is the worrying thing here by SOO. He has no defenses, and of course he has to leave the game. So yeah, defensive wise, pretty much a disastrous game by SOO. Immediately getting punished by Snow. And there's the Archon here for Snow. Yeah, I believe a Spore or some Sunkens would have been a great idea for him, as Snow, at one point he was really behind into this game, SOO taking the initiative, but all of a sudden SOO changed his mind. He went into no more defensive gameplay. I don't really understand why exactly. Perhaps, like I told you, some Sunkens, some Spores would have been a good idea for him. And in the end, a drop with some Overlords could have been quite devastating here into the back from Snow. Perhaps SOO is going to watch the replay and reconsider his strategy, especially his defense. Yeah, let's just check the stats very quickly. Still a good game by both players, like I told you, in October the 1st, 2025. Game has been played actually today, so I'm casting it live, almost live. I did download it. And yeah, very good game. A nice back and forth game actually. At one point, SOO having the advantage, then decides to play defensively, and Snow just sniping a couple of overlords, slowly but steadily coming back into the game with his reavers and with the drops, with the high temperance drops. SOO just going onto mass units, zerglings with high risk and lurkers. Not really working out for him. Perhaps some Scourge in the air would have also been a great great idea. Resource wise, they were pretty much at the same. Indeed, pretty much the same resources here for both players. But yes, no, with that mass AoE, with the Reaver and the High Templars, winning this game in the end. So a nice tense game by both players from the South Korean ladder. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's Tommy signing out.